Wacy Academy.
Have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on in your head when you book a flight? You know, it feels like this simple pull, this desire for adventure. But what if I told you that underneath all that, there's a fascinating economic calculation happening? Well, today, we're going to break down the hidden logic behind your wanderlust. So, just for a second, think about the last trip you took. What was really driving you? Was it just that you had to get away from the daily grind, the lure of a sunny beach, or was there something else? A quieter, maybe more rational calculation happening in the background. You see, on one side, we've got these romantic ideas, right? Wanderlust, that deep urge to just go. And sunlust, the need for an experience you just can't get at home. But on the other side, economists are saying, hold on a second, it's actually all a perfectly rational calculation. Let's dive into how that works. So first up, let's peel back the layers of desire and start with those reasons we all know and love. The ones we tell ourselves and our friends when we're planning that big trip. Yeah, these are the classics, the psychological drivers. I mean, who doesn't feel that pull to escape the 9 to 5 for some new experiences? Researchers actually put names to these feelings decades ago, wanderlust and sunlust, and they still ring totally true. But this is only half the story. To really get to the economic heart of this, we have to start with the most fundamental trade-off that pretty much all of us make every single day of our lives. Okay, so this graph might look a little complicated at first, but stick with me, it's actually pretty simple. The line going up is your income, and the line across the bottom is your time. That downward sloping line shows every possible combination. You can choose to work more, which means more money to buy stuff, but less free time for leisure. Or you can choose the opposite. Every single point on that line is a choice, and every choice has a cost. And this is the key. We all have different preferences. Somebody might land at point E, they're happy to work longer hours, to have more cash to spend. Someone else might be all about point D. They'll gladly sacrifice some income for more free time. Where you land on this line basically determines your entire budget for everything, and that includes your vacation. So you've made that big life trade-off. You've got your set budget. The big question now is, how do you decide how to spend it? How much goes to travel versus, a new phone or going out for dinner? This is where a really cool concept comes in called the budget line. And honestly, it's best to think of it as your menu of affordable options. It shows you everything you can possibly buy. You could spend all your money on travel and nothing else, or all your money on other stuff and no travel, or any mix in between. Now, if the budget line is your menu of what's possible, the indifference curve is your wish list. This curve maps out all the different combinations of travel and other things that would give you the exact same level of happiness. You might be just as happy with an epic trip and fewer dinners out as you would with a smaller trip and way more dinners out. And here is where the magic happens. A rational person, and that's you in this model, is going to choose the one single point where their wish list just barely touches their menu of affordable options. That spot, right there at point D, is the sweet spot. It's the perfect combination that gives you the most possible happiness you can get for the budget you have. But of course, our choices aren't made in a bubble, right? The world is always changing. Maybe our income goes up, or a flight gets way cheaper, and that completely shifts the entire calculation we just talked about. So for instance, let's say you get a raise. Fantastic. What happens here is your entire budget line, your whole menu of options, shifts outwards. Suddenly, a whole new world of travel and spending combinations becomes possible. You can now reach a higher indifference curve, which just means a higher level of overall happiness. And how we react to that extra money is actually really interesting. For what's called a normal good, like a luxury trip, more income means you buy more of it. Simple enough. But for an inferior good, more income can mean you actually buy less of it. Think about it. You might stop taking those super budget holidays because you can finally afford to upgrade to a premium resort. Now, what if the price of travel itself drops? Say, you find a killer flight deal. In this case, your budget line doesn't just shift, it pivots outwards. This is great news because it means you can afford more travel for the same amount of money, letting you jump from your old happiness level at point D to a new, higher one at point E. You're just better off. This same logic applies when you're choosing between different places to go. The graph on the left shows what we call complements. Think destinations you tend to visit together, like a multi-city trip to London and Paris. On the right, we have substitutes, places where you'd probably choose one or the other, like a big city trip to either Sydney or New York. Your choice here is all about whether you're making an either-or decision or looking for a package deal. Okay, so we've seen how all this works for one person making a decision. But what happens when you zoom way out and look at the choices of millions and millions of people all doing this at the same time? It's kind of mind-blowing, really. Your seemingly small, personal decision, that rational calculation to get the most happiness out of your budget, is a micro decision. But when you multiply it by millions of other travelers who are all doing the exact same thing, it becomes the engine of a massive global industry. All those individual choices add up to become the entire world's tourism economy. And just when you think it's all about cold, rational math, there's this amazing social twist. Back in 1949, an economist named James Dusenberry pointed out that our choices are hugely influenced by what other people are doing. We see the trips our friends are taking, we see influencers on social media, and that demonstration effect actually shapes our own desires and what we consider to be the perfect vacation. So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you're scrolling through flight deals or daydreaming about some distant beach, ask yourself, is this just my heart talking, pure wanderlust? Or am I, without even realizing it, making a perfect, rational calculation, just following the data to get the most happiness I possibly can? The truth is, it's probably a little bit of both.